And in the top right side of Everdream, we're looking at the main base of our Blue Protoss. It is Nina.
Alrighty, so we were talking a little bit during the break, but Nina definitely usually has her own style in the works. It's not that she can do anything, it's more that she'll usually have something new that she's doing and something that she's comfortable with that no one else is doing.
What I love about watching Nina play in general as well is that Nina is the opposite of a boring Protoss player. Whenever she gets ahead in the game, it isn't about making the next attack and immediately ending it. It's like, nope, let's get another base, let's get a few more gateways, let's get War Prism speed and all the fun stuff. And that makes me a little bit hopeful for Vindicta as well, because I don't think Vindicta needs to look at this series and be like, okay, I need to be in control of the game at any given moment, and if I ever fall behind, I'm dead. Because I just don't think that's really the case when you go up against Nina. I think there is always potential for comebacks, because Nina is a very fancy Protoss player and loves to win in style, but that also allows for comebacks that otherwise perhaps wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, one thing to be said about Vindicta, of course, many people know him for his ghost usage, even as far as this matchup is concerned, because they're a little bit more understandable in with nukes in TVC, but in this matchup we've seen a lot of ghost play from him, and him favor usually that late game, right? Now what I'm scared about, Roddy, is that Nina is super greedy when she sees an opportunity.
Okay, well, Vindicta's kind of opening up in a pretty greedy way here as well, going for that reactor before any unit out of the barracks and command center on the low ground. This means that if Nina would have gone for a crazy build, like the traditional max packs opening or something, I think your command center is dead. I think there is absolutely no way to save it. That Zealot will start slicing away at things. But maybe Vindicta just feels like, nope, Nina is not that kind of Protoss. I know that she's macro-oriented and I can get away with this. So I'm going to get a lot of Marines out very quickly. We haven't seen too many of those quick Marine tank pushes. I kept talking about it over here on Everdream because we saw it. It was like all the rage in week 1. I haven't really seen it yet in week 2. But Vindicta is somebody who's definitely capable of pulling off a build like that. It's actually going to be a reactor, so maybe it's the Marine Hellion poke over here.
All right. And is he going to be looking for a medevac to try to sneak in with the Hellions, or do you think that he just runs in?
Yeah, I think it's just maybe running in with Marines and Hellions and then a Widowmine drop as a follow-up. So after the 2 Hellions, it could very well be 2 Widowmines. And it's a hyper-aggressive opening that can actually get a lot of damage done. It is indeed going to be the double mine follow-up. It's all about the shield battery in the natural or a wall up. I think it's very important for Nina to start focusing on the defense. She's defending in a very aggressive manner, which is obviously good, but also gives maybe some opportunity for the Hellions to sneak past these units in the center of the map. Like, the Marines are nothing to worry about anymore, but the Hellions could still get dangerous.
Yeah, that's exactly what Vindicta chooses to do. He's going a little bit of a long path, but I really like the potential for these Hellions. These Widowmines could also be a thorn in the side of Nina, but she's careful.
Uh-oh, the Hellions sneak in, and this is bad news for Nina. There are no units at all. That means no DPS to take care of these Hellions. I'm expecting at least 5-6 probes to go down here, and even getting the recall. This is an amazing start for Vindicta.
Gigantic. 6 probes, 7 now go down. And the timing couldn't have been better because Nina had to have been looking at the shade and the adept that she was planning to activate the Widow Mines with. So lucky on that front from Vindicta and capitalizing very well.
Yeah, great Hellion movement, right? Because if the Hellions would have just gone through the center, they actually get absolutely nothing done. But because Vindicta was able to sneak them through the bottom side of the map, Nina felt very confident that she was able to move her stalkers even further forward. That was not the case at all. So Nina kind of getting punished for defending in such an aggressive manner in the center of the map. And Cats, we didn't really talk about it yet because a lot of things have happened, but the armory is done, and that means that these Widow Mines are permanently cloaked.
Nasty. There will be a pylon spotting and blink is available, so there's still a chance that Nina can react in time.
Yep, stalkers are here, getting the first shots off. This medevac will most likely go down. Wait, wasn't that an armory? What happened to the armory? The armory got cancelled. Okay.
Oh. That's kind of strange.
Sorry. Well, I apologize, guys. It's been a long day, but I could have sworn I saw an armory on the production tab. It must have been cancelled then.
Well, there was an observer anyway, so it's probably better for Vindicta. There wasn't an armory this time around. And now finishing a tech lab to make a Raven, but cancels the Raven too. Maybe he's just indecisive right now.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. At the end of the game, guys, I'll go over the replay because now I'm driving myself
Wait,
crazy.
did he just cancel both? He started both eBays and then canceled them just now. Or did he finish them? Please show it to me.
There are 2 eBays in the bottom of the natural. Or the back of
Okay, I
the
thought he was
natural.
just on a canceling spree, Roddy. I was
never mind. Stalker's taking a couple of heavy shots from the tanks. The bunker actually somehow survives. There's a Liberator sieging up in the natural as well. This Liberator is going to be able to grab at least 1 probe and a little bit of lost mining time. Overall, I think a very good start for Vindicta. Look at the worker count, cats. 6 worker advantage, now only 3. But that's a sweet place to be in as a Terran player.
Absolutely, Roddy. And I mean, there is a soft contain there for Nina. What do you make of this? Is this the best position for these stalkers? Does it buy her enough space?
Well, it's more just that if she would allow Vindicta to just run to the other side of the map right now and then get the tanks in a good position, you're in all sorts of trouble as a Protoss. So these stalkers kind of need to be here. They need to keep check of the Terran army. And you're also slowing the whole tree-based process down, right? If the stalkers aren't here, that command center would have already been flooding over, would have already been up and running at this point. So this is just kind of the right thing to do with the stalkers for now.
All right, Vindicta finally feels like he has enough to push out, and he will do so to establish his third. Economically, pretty close to each other. Oh,
this is actually kind of scary. A lot of stalkers hop into the main base. 1 reactor gets picked off immediately. The second one is going to probably go down as well. I was very worried there because Sim wasn't even done yet, and there was only a single Marauder in the main base. So I feel that Vindicta actually got kind of fortunate there, only losing a single reactor. If he doesn't repair the other reactor, by the way, he's going to lose 2. Okay, he does. Just at the final second, he repairs reactor number 2.
Yeah, I love the anti-F2 Liberator as well. That's an F2 brother right now, Roddy. We recognize them as we see them.
I know a real one when I see one, mate. Uh-oh, no, careful with the matter of fact. Stalker's going in pretty deep, actually delaying that sensor time for finishing up. A little bit of a misblink there, and that's actually going to cost Nina 2 Stalkers. That's a little bit unfortunate for her.
Yeah, and Adept as well. I mean, not the strongest unit, but you definitely want to keep that count up for counterattacks and for drops. So, kind of, what is this all about?
Vindicta's army is powerful, man. If the tanks can get in a good position, I think Nina is going to have a real tough time getting a good engagement against all of this. There was a Robo Bay. There is a Robo Bay, but there isn't a single Colossus or Disruptor yet. So it's all about Stalkers and Zealots now. Maybe engaging before these tanks siege up was the right play, but the Stalkers actually blinked in the wrong way. And that will allow Vindicta to kind of fortify this position. And this is going to be tough for Nina. Guardian Shield is going to help out quite a bit. But yes, this doesn't look like a pretty fight at all for Nina.
No, because it was only like half of her army. At the same time, Vindicta with a really nice counterattack. The Blink Stalkers are in position, but not ready. And this is a really good position for Vindicta, in spite of the fact that he was kind of pushing with not that big of an army comparatively, I want to say.
Nope, a lot of Stalkers dealing with a Widowmine drop in the main base, but it still got some damage done. In the end, Nina is going to clean this up, and that's obviously great news for her. But being down 9 workers and not really having any great tech. Yes, there is a Robo Bay, but there is no Colossus, no Thermal Lens. Yes, there is a Templar Archives, but there is no Storm available yet either. So I truly love Vindicta's position at this point. And if I look at Vindicta play in this game, I ask myself, how is Vindicta 0-3-0-6, right? What has happened in those games? Because he's looking really good over here.
Yeah, and he is one of the players that does very well with transitions. I think a lot of the NA Terrans are overly aggressive and kind of stay on low base count on just mass basic army. Look at the complexity of the army of Vindicta. It's quite nice, actually. He's really got a scaling force here.
The first Disruptor is on the way and Storm is on the way as well. So there's still a lot of potential, of course, for Nina in this game. But this is kind of a scary phase. There's a couple of Widowmines in the mix, and the Ghost with the EMPs can do very well against all these Zealots and Archons. Unfortunately, those EMPs landed right before, and hence Shockwave kicked in. We do have a double drop heading towards the main base, by the way, which is completely exposed. At the same time, we had that Widowmine drop at 3 o'clock. Vindicta is playing like a man on fire at this point. It's going to be able to pick off the Forge that's researching +2 as well. And Vindicta's playing awesome.
Yeah, identifies also and kills the low HP Archon, and now he's kiting his life out. I mean, being out on the map is perfect for him as well. Even if he doesn't trade 1-for-1, this is fantastic because his economical position is so good.
Can we take a look at the base? Yes, this one indeed, as the Widow Mines are going to fire again. The probes are very clumped up. What a shot. 7 workers going down to that single Widow Mine. Now Storm actually being used on these mines as well. Yep, that's not enough. The second mine is going to fire as well. Vindicta is running away with this game, I think, at this point. As long as he's able to avoid the big splash damage.
Yeah, I'm concerned for Nina as well. If Vindicta takes this game decisively, I really hope she can keep up because that can hurt her. She's an emotional player, and that can definitely send her to a bad place if she's not feeling it.
And the Cybercore is actually going to go down as well. That's, of course, bad news as well. That means no more Stalkers. Now, the Stalker count is actually very high. Maybe the Stalkers can blink forward and get the meta back.
A little slow to it.
Yeah.
I feel like she could have gotten that, right?
Maybe with better pathing. I think you had to blink from the low ground. Like, I think running up the ramp, then I think it was always going to be hard. But maybe just blinking on the high ground immediately would have gotten the job done. I mean, Vindicta is even getting advanced ballistics. You're right, his transitions are on point. This is 12 minutes into the game, and advanced ballistics is done. Double sensor tower, and he's a 4-base Terran. Vindicta is playing a beautiful macro-oriented TVP over here.
He's really one of the best in North America at this style, and let's see. If he can close it out, it's looking fantastic for him. I think Nina will have to maybe forfeit this base. Good reaction on the EMP, preventing the second storm from landing. Some more storms from Nina, but ultimately everything will get EMP'd and into these liberation zones. Wow. There's not much good splitting against the disruptor shot from Vindicta, and he will continue to push on forward.
Take a look at the units lost resource tab. 11,000 against 5,000, just showing how efficient Vindicta really has been in this game. A couple of Zealots and Stalkers are not going to save the day here for Nina. Game 1 will go in favor of Vindicta, and Vindicta looked amazing doing it. Even though that Purification Nova did connect, GG gets called. Vindicta with an amazing performance, in my opinion, on Everdream. How is this kid 0-6? That didn't make any sense. I'm glad he got rid of that 0. I want to see more of this kind of stuff coming out of him because he's really good.
Yeah, contender with Silky, I think, for the most solid play of the day so far. I think that looked just unstoppable, right? It was every step of the way really well executed. Every step of the way he had a fallback, a follow-up plan. Every wave that he attacked with was more complex and harder to deal with, and inching closer to max. So really well done. It didn't look like Nina had much of a chance. Let's hope she can turn it around. Yeah,
of course, in Nina, her defense, playing any PvT when you're losing 7 probes early on against just 2 Hellions. Like, if that's a 4 Hellion drop and a medevac and you lose 7 probes, it'd be like, well, you know, that's pretty fine, right? That kind of even things out. Protoss is going to be ahead anyway, a couple workers, so it's all good. But this was a very minor investment for Vindicta, but he was able to do so much damage with it. I think at that point, it does kind of become your game to lose. But hey, it's never that easy to close out a game with StarCraft 2. So Vindicta definitely did a great job, but we got to be fair to Nina as well. It was an uphill battle.
That is a really good point. And it was very early, I think, as you accurately pointed out. So a much greater percentage of your economy than if that happens later on and with bigger investment. So, all right, let's see if Nina will be up to Vindicta's trickery this game as we are loading into the next map, Roddy. Do you think she will bring it back?
Yeah.
2-1, so okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I said 2-1. I got to stick with it, right? But I got to say, I'm really impressed by Vindicta. But I do want to talk about what you mentioned as well, is that he's a beautiful, quote-unquote, Terran player when it comes to his transitions, right? It's not about ending games early on. But I also feel sometimes that can be the weakness of a Terran as well. Sometimes it's better to be straightforward and ugly as a Terran player. And instead of going for the drops, you just grab all your units, you run to the other side of the map, and you just analyze that your army is simply better than the Protoss army in that phase. So it is important to have that killer instinct as well. Anyways, we will see. Here on the top right side of Pillars of Gold, finally picked up his first map win in DH Masters North America. It is Vindicta.
Bottom left and looking to come back. It is for Team X on Nina.
I wonder if we're going to...
Go on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You go ahead.
No, after you, my friend.
Well, I had nothing to say, Roddy. I was waiting for you to give me the rundown here.
Okay. I was just kind of thinking, if we are going to see another Twilight opening here of Pillars of Gold, like I personally feel that this is a great map for Stargate play. Whether you're an Oracle or a Phoenix player, I think Stargate is excellent on this map against Terran. So I think we know that Nina is capable of executing multiple Protoss styles at a very high level. So I wouldn't mind seeing her switch it up and go for Stargate here in Game 2.
All right. It looks like she wants to expand, though, and Vindicta will be aware of this. Do you eBay block it?
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I feel like the
There's a lot
SCV...
of money being banked, right? What's the alternative here for Nina?
Well, I have the feeling...
Gateway?
No. I think you just either expand elsewhere or you just take your second gas, keep building probes, and then take care of it. I think opening up 2 gate against Terran is not that great.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But so why no eBay then? It sounds like it would be much harder for a Protoss to defend a different location than, say, a Zerg, right?
It is, but an eBay is also an investment, and maybe Vindicta just doesn't feel comfortable with making that investment with his build order. Just delaying it for a little bit is nice, because when I was looking at the minerals, it actually felt that Nina wanted to go for Nexus before Cybercore, but because the SCV was there, it was forced into a Cybercore into Nexus anyway, so the SCV was already successful.
Definitely. All right, the Reaper will not be as successful as his SCV brethren, but he could be really unsuccessful actually, but no, we'll catch wind of that adept and back away. Stalker is coming out, and as you have taught me, it is now his job to deal with this guy.
Yes, it is. There's no shield battery in the main, so it's all coming down to the Stalker. That's a great scout for Vindicta, though, seeing the robotics facility this early on into the game. Now, you know, if this was anybody else, you can be like, oh, this is just defensive 3-base Colossus, or it could be a quick Warp Prism play with some gateway aggression. With Nina, I refuse to make any predictions, because for all I know, this could be a Warp Prism speed Colossus opening or a Disruptor opening, right? Nina is capable of pulling off the craziest Protoss builds.
Definitely, and you like to see her wall of coming into play. Is this a regular Protoss wall off or more of her own time?
In the natural?
The Reaper died. No, in the main, the Reaper got cracked because it couldn't go behind the minerals, right?
Yeah, okay, there is that Robo Bay, by the way, in the main base, so it's going to be super... I'm expecting Warp Prism speed here, for sure. I don't really know where it goes. Yeah, it's just kind of a unique touch. I'm personally okay with it, because there is so much surface area here that I think it's kind of hard to make sure that the Reaper can never enter. And on top of that, I actually kind of hate having my Cybercore at a ramp, because that also means that later on, Medevacs from the low ground with a couple of bio units can pick off your core. And I'm surprised that not more Protoss players hate it that much, but I guess at the highest level, just keeping your opponent in the dark is super important. But it seems like Nina was taking the easy route and be like, well, if I get scouted, it's not the end of the world, because it will come down to my execution this game anyway.
Alrighty. So a Cyclone moving out to the map, but it will get spotted by the Observer. Does Nina just not show units here, or... Oh, cute. I love that. Very sneaky. I think it'll catch the Stalker, Roddy. The Stalker encroaches.
The Stalker can see that? That's actually... How can a Cyclone hide in that side blocker? That's so random. I think in the front, if you take a look at the Cyclone in the front, the wheels are coming through. So I think it was revealed in the front. Look.
Maybe? I don't know.
Come on.
They're hiding. They're hiding.
No. Okay, maybe from the left side, but definitely not from the right side. There's no way.
Well, it depends on where they move. He's showing us that he can hide everywhere.
Uh-oh. That Prism has to be super careful. That Cyclone is getting awfully close towards the Prism. Sees it. Good reaction there by Vindicta. There is a Purification Nova. Can he dodge it? The answer is no. Good job there by Nina, though, connecting with that as well.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, a Cyclone being picked off, and the Cyclone's job is to deal with this. I'm surprised that Nina will go back a little bit after picking off the Cyclone. Do you think she anticipates the second one, or?
I'm actually not sure. Maybe... I have no idea. There is a drop happening on this Nexus, but the Stalker count is actually pretty high. Now, obviously, there's no blink. There's no blink because of that War Prism speed opening. This is going to be cool. There's already a turret, actually, in the main base of Vindicta. Kind of like it. Vindicta obviously knows what Nina's capable of. That Warp Prism has to be really careful. Oh.
Okay, let's see this shot. It's gonna find 2 SCVs only.
Yeah. It's a start. I mean, look at the worker count, though. Nina already 9 workers ahead, but the Cyclone shows up, gets the lock-on the Prism. And in all honesty, this is great defense in the end by Vindicta, losing only 2 SCVs, but then picking off that Prism that also had the Prism speed upgrade. I mean, this is just a great way to deal with these kind of funky openings.
Yeah, most definitely. So Nina now taking a third. Maybe she'll look to move out on the map to establish that that map control and try to get her economy going. Vindicta, though, following suit with the third command center. So it looks like we're going towards the later game here, Roddy.
How do you feel about charge before Blink?
I feel scared for Nina. I feel like she is behind already. I feel like the map presence has been something that she hasn't done as well as other Protosses that we've been watching today in the matchup. And, you know, I think that Blink exacerbates that, right? Like if you have no good map presence, if you don't know these drops are coming, and you don't have good mobility, it could be difficult.
Yeah, I honestly think that Nina was hoping for a lot more value out of her Speed Prism Disruptor opening. Like, you want to stick around for a long time, you want to get multiple shots off. Picking off a Cyclone in the center is nice, but that's not why you go for that opening. You want a lot more, and I'm with you. On the other end, Charge is obviously better in the straight-up fight. Like, Blink is not that useful in the straight-up fight. Maybe a couple of extra Zealots, and Nina's army is actually powerful enough here to deal with this army of Vindicta. But there is a drop happening in the main base during all of this.
Yeah, and there's gonna be some Stalkers warped in, but this is not even enough to deal with it. Vindicta choosing to go after the pylon and then the Robo Bay. Do you like that target firing?
Yeah, I actually kind of like it. I think a forward stim into the probes or those stalkers that were warped in would have been great as well. But hey, if you talk about picking up important tech buildings, picking up a Robo Bay is a pretty big deal. I gotta say, Thermal Lens was already done, so that's unfortunate. Maybe going for the stalkers and the probes that would have been better, but still an alright drop, I'd say.
Yeah, playing it safe. It looks and feels as if he has had an advantage, and as if he has had the answers to the propositions of Nina here for the most part, right? I feel like the Cyclones were so very good of an opening against the Warp Prism Disruptor.
Yep. Vindicta with some very early Sensitowers. Maybe worried about the next Prism sneaking into the main base. Maybe not necessarily with a Disruptor, but just with a couple of Zealots that already could have been very hard to deal with. Now, I gotta say, I kind of like that Vindicta pulled back, because I think Nina going for Charge before Blink is a really cool play if you're worried about the first big attack, because then I think Charge is better. But if there is no trading happening, then I think you kind of wish you had Blink, because Blink is obviously better in establishing that map control that you mentioned, and also shutting down medevac. So I think that was a really good read by Vindicta.
Yeah, well done by him to pull back. And I mean, it's kind of been his bread and butter. I don't mind him going into the later game. We've seen what he's capable of. He is very good with his complex armies.
Nina's going to rebuild the Robo Bay, and also getting a robotics facility, and also getting Storm on top of this while researching Blink and going up on 4 bases. I feel that if Nina survives for the next 2 minutes, he's obviously going to be in a pretty damn good spot. But this might just be a little too much of the good stuff, man. Like, that's a lot of resources being invested right now in infrastructure and upgrades.
Even then, I feel like Vindicta's keeping up, right? He's adding Liberators, Ghosts, and getting the Ghost upgrade for the EMP as well. So it's not like he's falling behind in tech either. Nice Liberator.
Yeah, grabbing a couple of probes, forcing some lost mining time as well. Should give a good idea of where Nina's heading with her army composition as well. I think definitely the first big push that Vindicta is going to make, which probably should happen once Enhanced Shockwave is done, I think it's going to be very, very hard to deal with. Then again, 1 or 2 Purification Novas, and we are casting a completely different game. But right now, I like Vindicta's position quite a bit. It just really comes down to, can he avoid that AoE damage that's coming out of Nina's side?
Yeah, a lot of it will come down to control as well, because there is so many different sources of AoE from Nina, right? Can she do it all? Can she do it in the right order as well? And for Vindicta, sieging the tanks is going to be important. He will establish a position already. This is going to be difficult, I think, for Nina to break.
Yep, the first shot completely whiffed as well, and that's kind of bad news. Vindicta has to make sure not all of the tanks on siege at the same time. These Purification Novas do not connect either. I'm not sure if I like the rock still being up or not. The High Templar seems to be looking for a storm from the high ground. That's not going to happen as the tanks will take care of it. There's a Liberator in the main base during all of this, and I think that's why Nina is panicking a little bit.
Yeah, 8 probes have gone down there. Very nice EMPs. And what a setup Vindicta has. I have no idea how Nina can engage. Would you split your army? What does she have to do?
Yeah, I think maybe Zealots need to come in from the left top side. I think that's kind of the only chance because the tanks are a little exposed. So if you just have 3 or 4 Zealots there, you should be able to take care of the tanks very quickly. Now, being patient with Disruptors is also a way to do it. Normally, you would say that eventually those tanks become too much to deal with, right?
Yeah, I'm really concerned about the lack of surround setup though for Nina, seeing as the bio is so thick.
Storm from the right side. Oh my goodness, that's an amazing one. But Vindicta does a good job in running away. Can the Purification Novas connect? The answer is sort of, but I'm afraid that it's not enough for Nina. There are still a few more storms available, but Vindicta is playing this out in a beautiful manner. He is displaying so much patience right now as a Terran player.
Yeah, he really is slowly inching forward with those tanks. There's still storms and DMPs both available. Losing a little bit there, Vindicta, but not at no cost. And Nina also being as patient as she has been. I would love to see a little bit more of a flank. Maybe not just Templars, but a few more units to tank for those.
Yeah, the storms on the right side, those were awesome. But I really think the Zealots were missing. Now the Zealots are being sent, by the way, to the top left side. That's what I would have loved to see before. Or this, yeah, they're going for the tanks. This could actually work out in a big way, but now the Terran army is still so big. Oh, maybe with a good Zealot flank and then a couple of Purification Novas.
Here they come, but I'm afraid they will run into some reinforcements, so the attack from Nina will not be timed as well as she would have liked. Will it be enough? The Liberators are arriving on the side from Vindicta, but it seems like Nina might just have enough to break through.
I don't know, man. The Liberators got so many shots off, and that's never a good sign for a Protoss player. But the 2 Colossus are actually still alive, and at least all the tanks have been taken care of. So, yeah, that's actually kind of a hold. I mean, it wasn't cheap. It wasn't pretty, but in the end, it is a hold, and Nina's still alive.
Yeah, the position is clear, but I mean, Vindicta, we've been talking and hyping up how well he transitions, and he's been no slouch on this department, right? He situated his 4th. He is continuing on with those upgrades, producing a lot of ghosts at a time, adding now even a 2nd D-base, so he is not slowing down.
How many Stalkers do we have? 7, so it's actually a little bit difficult to deal with these kind of hit squads as well. Vindicta has to be careful though. Those Medevacs are already quite bruised up from the fights before. I mean, this is a close game, honestly. Nina on 4 bases with all the splash damage in the world. It's more than playable for her. I gotta say, really impressive that she was able to hang in there, because at one point it started to look super dicey, right? With all the tanks and the Liberators joining in the mix as well.
Yeah, whenever I see sensor towers as well being added, when I already feel like I'm not, doing too well, and I'm like, what's my opening? And then the doors start closing in those giant circles, it feels kind of bad. So I really like that. Do you feel like that with sensor towers, Roddy? Like, the map is closing in on me.
No, I do kind of hate sensor towers, actually. Like, I just think they're no fun.
Yeah, they're no fun. So, yeah, I'm not sure how Nina's going to find any openings here. So I like that she's taking a 5th instead. Map vision has been a little bit better for her, spreading out a few units forward. So she will see Vindicta coming from the main paths as well.
The more I think about it, the more I'm amazed by that hold of Nina. That's honestly really impressive. With all those tanks, all those Liberators, a couple of ghosts in the mix as well. I actually can't believe she was able to keep that base alive. That's astonishing.
Would you put that to her Zealot micro there, Roddy?
The Zealot flank in the end was good, but I think the flanking High Templars the first time were a very big role as well, because they softened up a lot of that bio, got quite a few kills, and did a lot of damage to the medevac as well. Now Nina is starting to feel super confident, splitting up her armies in 2 ways. Uh-oh, Disruptors?
It's a lot of them.
They do actually manage to... Yeah, I actually thought the tank was going to be able to get 1 more shot off. These are the close little skirmishes that really have to go in your favor as well. Both players kind of having units everywhere at this point. There are so many ghosts here though, so Vindicta has to be really careful. Because splitting Marines and Marauders against Disruptors, I know that he's capable of that. but doing it with Ghost is hard. The first nukes, by the way, are out, and we've got Float Ghost as well. This game is about to get crazy, and I love it.
Yeah, beautiful move here by Nina with her secondary army. It's so difficult to push into the first army because there's so many disruptors that I really like this move with her more mobile army. I'm not sure what the Colossus is doing there, really. I feel like he's gonna get left out at some point and killed. But I mean, this is nice. This is what she needed.
Oh, Nina's not pulling away yet from the nuke. Now she is at the very last moment. At least the batteries do go down and a couple of probes fall in the end. This game is wild.
Really wild indeed. I really like the moves that Nina has been making, but the army of Vindicta is still very scary. Incredible EMPs. But EMP will not stop the disruptors.
Vindicta's thinking about maybe a big drop into the main base. And wouldn't be the worst call, right? There isn't that much keeping the main safe.
Yeah, there's so many stalkers though. It's gotta be so nerve-wracking.
Few more nukes as well. I think the best thing about nukes is just that it makes you really paranoid as a Protoss player. At one point, because you're always worried about the Terran army landing an EMP and then stimming forward. You need to keep track of the movement of the tanks and the Liberators. And then on top of that, you have to avoid those red dots all the time. Like, you know, us Protoss players, we're not used to that much stress, guys.
Yeah, this is true, Roddy. I think that what they should do is nuke attack. You know, right before you attack, press a nuke anywhere. I don't care if it's aiming at anything. You know, just to mess with your opponent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make them look elsewhere.
No, it's not that crazy of an idea, actually. The goals! Wow, somehow they kind of avoid these Purification Novas for now. This fight is just so wild because a lot of Stalkers and Colossus are fighting on the top right side. That's not a good fight for Nina, as there was no buffer for those units. But with all the static defenses, I think the main army should still be strong enough, right?
All the storms somehow are still available, though. And Nina will continue. Oh, beautiful! Disruptor shots onto the tanks. Nina kind of stabilizing here. She has a huge bank, Roddy.
Yep, Nina is very rich. Vindicta's doing a great job macroing, but it also means he's actually quite far behind, because if Nina is able to spend this bank, then Vindicta is going to be in trouble. I mean, I like the ghosts and the nukes and stuff, but I really think advanced ballistics should have been a much bigger priority against Nina, who's just kind of relying on all the AoE damage that she has.
Yeah, and the Liberators, the few that he made without advanced ballistics, did so well earlier in this game and in the previous game as well that I'm surprised he kind of stopped with those. Yep. Blink is now being researched for DTs. We talked about styling.
Yeah, and this base as well, come on. Feels a little too much. There's the entire bottom right side to take. More Zealots coming in as well. Purification Novas are keeping the Terran army at bay. I still think Nina has to be a little bit careful. These High Templars are kind of left by themselves, but only a single one goes down at first. I mean, Nina, her macro is so good. Holy hell.
Yeah, this is kind of scary from her, but this PF will definitely fall, it looks like. So Vindicta is kind of getting choked. I like that he is still taking bases on the other side of the map, though I am not sure that he wants to give up on this side of the map, seeing as Nina has taken that very aggressive Nexus.
Did we see a couple of medevacs leave? Yes, there are two medevacs flying the right bottom side, but they fly across the prism. I think Vindicta is worried about Nina having the bottom right side. That's actually not happening. So I think maybe a run-by on this base at 6 o'clock wouldn't be that bad, but a couple of Zealots will get wiped in there as well.
Yeah, it's nearly mined out as well. But I think Nina wants to press the issue. I mean, she's made her stance known with that Nexus. A lot of army units moving on forth. Vindicta not maxed and not with his entire army here. He will actually find quite a few probes and forcing also the recall, but these DTs are amazing to Roddy.
Well, Colossus actually gets picked up as well. Yeah, the Dark Templars are getting some serious work done on the right side, but hey, that was only 12 SCVs. Well, 8 probes gone down too, and of course Vindicta kind of buys himself some time to get maybe some more tanks out, but I am just, like, I know he's super broke at this point, so to ask for Liberators and Fusion Core is maybe a little bit hard, but I felt like that was an opportunity before, and I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, I feel like he has had leads in this game, but now the lead is very clear on the side of Nina.
That army was awfully close towards the nuke. The High Templars could be in some trouble. Both of them going down, and there were quite a few storms on those as well.
Love that position. Did he nuke the high ground, actually?
No, right behind the minerals, but still kind of an awkward spot where you don't normally look.
DT still doing a little bit of damage here, but nothing that can't be handled.
Well, that's a proper nuke as 16 probes go down. I mean, obviously the Dark Templars are killing SCVs as well, but I think Nina has to be a little bit careful. But at the same time, the main army actually collapsed on the tanks while we were watching the DTs, and that is going to be enough. GG gets called. We're getting a game 3, and that game 2 was pretty awesome, guys.
Yeah, 1-1. Very surprising comeback from Nina. And now we talked about her being a momentous player. I think that she has momentum going for her. I'm kind of scared for Vindicta now.
Well, we're going to head over to a very quick break, and after that, we'll be back with the final game of the day between Nina and Vindicta.
The last series today is tied 1-1 between Nina and Vindicta. You are watching the tail end of the DreamHack Masters series. I am joined by my good friend Roddy. Rooting for Vindicta?
No, I mean, I love Vindicta. That's kind of my young buddy, you know. We had a great time earlier this year in Australia. It was a lot of fun. We both attended a tournament called Ozcraft back then. He's just a super good kid, and I always love it when we have a new generation of players breaking through. Because there was a time in StarCraft that we didn't really have that. We watched the same names for 2-3 years straight, and we're like, do the young kids still like StarCraft? And that's why I kind of like seeing these younger kids, make some progress and really break into the ranks of the pro players.
I am 500% with you, Roddy. And I am a fan of that as well. But a veteran on the right-hand side, it is Nina.
And in the bottom left side, we look at the main base of a young American player hailing from San Diego, California. It is Vindicta.
Miguel. I believe is his name. Cool name.
Cool name for a cool kid.
Indeed. And this map is pretty crazy. Now I have no idea though how it plays out. Could either race take the gold reliably here?
I think it's a little bit harder for Terran in general. Protoss players like to take it early, but taking the gold is very risky. Like at first, this seemed like a great idea, but then we all realized that it's actually kind of easy for Terran players to punish it as well. Because if your Stalkers have to defend both sides of the wall, then suddenly your main base can become a very big target. So I think it's tempting to take the gold, but I don't think you want to take it too early. I think taking it as your fourth base is better than taking it as your third.
Alrighty. So, other features of this map, of course, it can be split two different ways. Do you have a preference in this matchup?
No, as a Protoss, I think you always want to expand towards the top, and you just want to have observer coverage at the bottom. I do think having double observer coverage is important, because there's something weird about Golden Wall, but for some reason, there's just a lot of space all the way at the bottom of the map. So if you have like an observer near like a gas, there's actually a chance that you still miss like a medevac or something that is all the way at the bottom, and then you've got that weird space underneath your main base as well. Where like sometimes I'm like convinced with like, yeah, I've got great vision, and then suddenly you don't. So that's just the one thing that really stands out for me on this map. But I like Golden Wall though. I just think it's a fun map, and we get our Stargate opening for the first time this series.
Yeah, I like it. It's positioned to make an Oracle most likely and run into the main of Vindicta. I mean, it is kind of a long rush distance, but I guess it'll be pretty difficult to scout at the very least.
Well, yes, it's difficult, but not if you have an SCV in the main base, right? And Vindicta has an SCV hidden in the main base of Nina. That SCV is now going to go on a little tour, and that's a cute little move, and I love it.
Wow. Sneaky boy. He will get spotted momentarily, and so the SCV will pay the price. But it has seen what it needed to see and relayed the information.
Yep. Now, this is a map that does allow for some crazy creativity as well. I don't want to say it, but I even think once in a while you might see some double Stargate against Terran here. I know, it sounds bizarre, but it's kind of a thing actually.
Yeah, I would love to see that. It would certainly account for all the space in the back and make good use of because you're very mobile with Stargate, right? And on a map that you can kind of choose which side to fight on, I feel like that can be really beneficial.
Yep. What I'm curious about is if Nina is going for a charge slot Phoenix, or if it's just traditional Phoenix Robo Colossus, right? Because I think these days it's all about the Phoenix Colossus combo, but I actually think Phoenix Twilight is very powerful as well, especially because a lot of the Terran builds are tailored towards dealing with Phoenix Colossus, and because they're so good against Phoenix Colossus, they're really bad against Phoenix Gateway. So I'm really curious actually where Nina goes with this.
So you're feeling the Roti PVC is what Nina should be doing. Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to give myself that much credit, but yes, I would honestly love to see some Phoenix Twilight play here, but I think it's going to be Phoenix Colossus.
Alrighty. Additional gateways being added, as well as that Robo that we were anticipating. So we'll see if Nina is able to situate a third in this map. That is something that has been contested, but generally both players seem pretty comfortable going into the later game, right? It's just about what happens in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, work count actually looks fantastic for Nina at this point. 13 worker advantage already. The Phoenixes could pick up maybe an SCV as well. They're gonna take the fight here against the Vikings and the Cyclone. That is not going to work out, and that's maybe not that much of a disaster, but a little bit of energy spent there. And I think that's a moral victory for Vindicta, not losing any of those key units.
That was really well handled as well, landing the Viking, the crisis management from Vindicta, quick to it. And yeah, we were talking about how expensive the Phoenixes are, but you were saying earlier you'd rather players just hold on to them if they're not going to find the damage, right? So is Nina okay with this?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of the big worker advantage that Nina already had of the early game, there will always be a moment for these Phoenixes to be annoying. Okay. I feel like Nina's maybe a bit nervous, feeling the pressure. A couple of uncharacteristic micro mistakes. That was an excellent save, though, in the end, there on that Phoenix. But yeah, that never had to get that close, right? If the other Phoenixes would have just been in range to get one more shot up on the STV, that would have been a lot easier.
Yes, indeed. There is a Robo Bay as expected, so Colossi are on the menu as Vindicta gears up for a transition himself into 1-1 upgrades.
Yeah, and it's a triple CC as well, so this is kind of like, all right, we're playing late game, or at least this is a macro-oriented game at this point, because with the triple CC, Terran is not really able to move out and apply any real early game pressure, and that's obviously great news for Nina. Because whenever you play Phoenix, you're often a bit worried that you're very low on units, right? And some of these early pushes can be intimidating. But that's not going to happen, so we're just going to macro for the final game of the day. I love it.
Yeah, look at the situation for the Phoenixes of Nina as well. Kind of keeping an eye on the entire bottom side. There's no way anything gets past them. So really,
Yeah.
really well done.
I actually think I would have preferred Nina to be a little more adventurous with the Phoenixes. I know it's tough against like Cyclone Viking, but I think there is always an SCV to be found here and there. Keeping them on patrol like this is cool, but you're never going to get dropped if the Terran player opened up triple CC Cyclone Viking, right? Like, it's impossible for Terran to actually have enough units to also be dropping.
That's a good point. So yeah, I'm not sure what she was hoping to catch. Some adventurous Vikings, perhaps. But yeah, that's not gonna pan out. She will spot this third and the intended location. Is there a way that she can punish? It looks like her choice is going to be to drop a fourth base.
That's real quick. Yeah, this is kind of making Golden Wall her own. Vindicta's really struggling mining out these back minerals, by the way. Okay, finally he's able to get through. It was mining of each and every single patch. And these SCVs are going to land. I think it's important to get a turret there immediately, otherwise the Phoenixes can be annoying. Nina actually moving out, and this is such a weird move out that it can actually deal a lot of damage. The wall off is not completed yet, and imagine if Nina lands a force filter 2 on the ramp. This could be really big, and this could be trouble for Vindicta. He needs to get in position ASAP, and I think he will. Whew.
Yeah, Nina not really focusing down as quickly as she could have there on those supply depots. I agree with you. Getting on that ramp could have been maybe game ending. At the same time, Nina, though, with a nice counterattack backstab with the Phoenixes, finally putting them to use, will net her 7 SCVs and a little bit of a ramp.
Yeah, 7 SCVs and a couple of depots is obviously not bad for a phase in a game where Nina's actually going up to 4 bases and tacking up herself. So that's honestly, that was a very good move out. Not one that I feel like is very safe, but yeah, actually worked out in a perfect way. I do think that if Vindicta knows he's going to take this bottom base and he knows the Phoenix count is still so high, I think he should always get a turret there immediately. That turret should be done before the command center even lands there.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what's always been so difficult about playing against Nina, is that she's willing to be aggressive even when she shouldn't be aggressive, when she should maybe sit back and be passive. And sometimes that makes you doubt yourself, like, is she trying to attack me? And now Vindicta is going to go out on the map. This is really what he needs to do to bring this game back, I think.
Yeah, there was an observer there of Nina. I'm not sure if Nina actually saw those 2 medevacs load up and leave the natural. I think it was in range, but looking at the Phoenix movement, I have the feeling that Nina did not pick up on it. And if Vindicta is able to squeeze a double drop all the way into the top side, this could actually get very dicey because most of the Colossi and Zealots are way out of position. Now, of course, if you're sending out units against a lot of Phoenixes, can get dicey. The Phoenixes are actually kind of left unattended on the bottom side. Good EMP. I love that Vindicta is moving his main army, showing his main army as a move out, while actually setting up that attack on the top side of the map as well, right? This is really great army movement by Vindicta.
Yeah, there's a unit in front that might give him away, but no, he stops before going. Okay, there's a Marine. Actually, I don't like that.
No.
It will proc the sound, but is Nina gonna be ready? It looks like not anyway.
Recall maybe though. I would probably recall if I'm Nina here. I know that Nina is actually gearing into the natural Vindicta, but you know what they say, cats, never base trade a Terran. Storm isn't done yet. This can actually get really dicey. Nina left a couple of units left in her main, but without Storm, this is so hard. The Templar Archives though, will it finish up? It's awfully close, but yes, Storm will finish up. And now Nina's actually in the main base. This may have worked out great for Nina.
Yeah, actually, wow, she's gonna break through. I'm surprised that she didn't get opposed going up this main ramp. Vindicta is gonna have to pull back from that very annoying location that he had himself. This looks wonderful for Nina.
Yep, with Storm finishing up, all of a sudden this is pretty damn good. Now the orbitals are still alive, but at this point Vindicta is supply blocked. This is an army that maybe with some tank support you can clean up, but this is a lot of economic damage being dealt. Oh my goodness. Vindicta not mining of 2 out of 3 bases.
It looks dire. It looks over to me, Roddy. Your boy is about to fall to Nina. Very sick EMP though, but the sentries are missed.
If the orbital,
man.
if the orbital can survive, I think Vindicta is still in the game, but I really don't know if it can. There are no SCVs to repair it here. One missile turret's not going to keep it safe. GG gets called.